Good morning and welcome to Intense. If you haven't seen any of these videos yet, my name's Alex Garner and today I'm heading out for a weekend trip to collaborate with another YouTuber. He is a photography YouTuber, landscape photography in particular. He has a four-wheel drive. He's actually getting quite into his four-wheel driving and camping. So I'm going to meet him at the BP on the side of the freeway, grab a coffee and head to the Margaret River area. I'll introduce him to you when we get there and we'll talk more about our plans and what you're going to see in this video. Okay, here we are, BP. There's the patrol and this is what Andrew drives. Ford Ranger, pretty new I think. It's got a flash new canopy on the back. How you doing, mate?
G'day mate, how you doing?
Good. So we're going to go down some four-wheel drive tracks. I'm going to show you some of the tracks along the coast in Margaret River.
Yep.
And we're going to look for photo opportunities.
Yes, landscapes, seascapes.
Seascapes. There we go. Very, very niche. So this is the Seascape hunting four-wheel drive adventure on the Margaret River coast. I don't think that'll be the video title.
Bit long.
A bit long. So now that we're in the Margaret River region, it's just a case of ducking off the main road and finding all these four-wheel drive tracks. So between Dunsborough and Augusta, there's two capes. And I think it's called Caves Road all the way down because that road goes past a lot of caves. But off Caves Road, which runs very close to the coast, are all these tracks that sort of slice through bits of national park. And it's really good because you don't have to go far off the main road to find a track. And that's what we've done here. Just found a bit of a track, followed it past some houses, past lots of keep out, private property signs. Not past them in a bad way, I've got to say. To a little sign that says National Park. It has an arrow pointing. And we've avoided going through the private property spots and we're on this little national park track down to the beach.
And I'll just back and go down the other way.
Oh, that was a bit of fun. Now, back to searching for photo locations. Beach, here we come.
So what we're looking for in a seascape is foreground interest. You're always on a seascape going to have generally a wide kind of shot, so your foreground is really important. So you're looking for patterns in the rocks, possibly lines within the rocks, patterns within the water, or even some interest, some texture underneath the water. That will anchor your image and then present a nice bottom third for the rest of your shot.
Okay, what Andrew said. Let's keep going and find out. There often comes a point where your vehicle will take you no further. As you can see, we're there, so we're walking out to, by walking I mean walking out to this little cape, a mini cape. See what we can see. Is this a shit photo, Andrew?
No, look, it's one of these situations where the scene is beautiful, but it's a little bit difficult to get a good landscape photo. There's no doubt about it. It's a very pretty bay. The water is beautiful colour, and sure, there's a little bit of seaweed, but that's not too much of a problem. It's just bringing it all together. You're going to be able to take a photo of the scene, so it's a nice view, but not necessarily a great landscape photo.
Yeah, I reckon that's a trick that a lot of people run into. Come across this amazing spot and take a picture of it, but the picture just doesn't do it. Some things, it looks amazing, but if you look at it from a photographer's point of view, it's not a good photo.
And part of the trick is you'll see a beautiful view, and you'll take a picture of the view, and then you'll get it back, and it's quite flat, and you'll go, oh look, you had to be there, it was really pretty, and it is. That's the trick with foreground interest. Foreground interest, so you've got some interest right close to the camera, kind of draws the viewer of the image into the scene and gives it a little bit of dimension as well, and it's always important to find some dimension in your photo. Still a beautiful view.
Do you remember that time when I asked Andrew what sorts of things we were looking for in a seascape? And do you remember how sunny that was? That was 20 minutes ago. Yes. So this place is another point, a bit like where we just were, scoping out. I've actually paid this one a visit before, but not for many years. The time is 4:23, so I think by the time we get to the spot, it'll be pretty much time for sunset and Andrew to work his magic on landscape photos. I'll have a bit of a crack as well. This is the spot. It's called North Point. It's pretty good. Grab the camera gear. We'll find us a photo to take. So here's what I got. That thing there, Nikon D750 full frame 24 megapixel body with a Tamron 24 to 70mm f2.8 lens. I do have another lens which is a 70 to 200mm 2.8. That'll be even worse for landscape photography, so you know, I'm stuck with what I've got, and I have one filter. We'll be back to you when Andrew's got his stuff set up and we'll see what he's using. So down around these rocks I found all this coastal pig face. I've talked about this stuff before. There's a little fruit that grows on that, and I call it the salty kiwi fruit. It's a little red thing. If you squeeze it, the white middle comes out, and once you get rid of the salty outer layer, it tastes exactly like a kiwi fruit. But also, I've noticed this bit of water down here. And it seems to be just seeping out from under the rock. So on a lot of these places along the south coast, water sort of just oozes out into the sea. I reckon survival situation, fresh water. Let's give it a crack. Also the fact that it has mosquito larvae in it. They only live in fresh water. Oh, I don't want too many larvae. Nope, definitely salty. Ooh. Let's see what Andrew shoots with.
I'm shooting with the Nikon D850. I've got the 17 to 35 on the front and I'm at 17. I'm trying to get as wide as I possibly can and as close to this edge as I possibly can as well. On the front I've got the Lee filters. I've got a Lee filter mount, and that allows me to screw a polarizer on the front and allows me to adjust it with the filters already in, so I don't have to remove the filters and then adjust the polarizer. So I can adjust the polarizer anytime I want. And then I've got two hard graduated filters stacked, 0.9 and 0.6. Reason for that is the sky is so bright in comparison to the foreground. So I'm just trying to even up that so I can take close to one shot to get the image.
And if you want to see more, do head over to Andrew's channel, where you can see how he went through choosing locations and making the picture. Let's take some more shots and then we're going to go find camp. So we got a bit excited with our photos and we stayed there until dark. And then we came to the Boren Up Forest campground. And we get here and I've realised I didn't have the foresight to plan to bring cash with me. It costs money to camp here. It doesn't work out so good. So there's a place nearby, maybe 20 minutes from here, Contos. Really nice little campground. It's tightly managed. It's there's a lot of campsites in there. A lot of people go there, but it's really nice, and I think it'll be reasonably quiet this morning, tonight, all of those things. What do you reckon, Andrew?
A stay at Contos is always a good thing, so I'll never complain about that. And you can book online, which is really handy for us.
Yeah, that solves our current dilemma, booking online. So, night lapse. Late start this morning, but that's okay because we've been filming some content. Andrew's car in the background there. We filmed his camp setup, so I went around and talked about what he uses to sleep in, how he set out the back of his car for camping and photography and stuff, and we're going to finish off filming that later on. So the time is now 10:40 and we've got a few places on the map to explore today. Number one, we're going to Redgate Beach, and then north of there to Ellensbrook Homestead. We'll take a quick peek at that. And then I've seen some tracks on the map which might lead us out to some nice little rocky points and headlands and stuff. So we'll explore the tracks and see if we can find a good photo location to do some landscape photography at sunset, and then we'll be back here in the dark again. So the theme is camp in the dark but hang around a little bit longer in the morning. So next stop, Redgate Beach. So Redgate Beach is chock full of surfy types. I think they do surfing lessons here and everyone comes to ride fully sick waves, dude. That's not what we're here for, obviously. Like I said, we're here to look for some photo opportunities. But it's pretty spectacular. Harsh coastline, exploding waves. Andrew was hoping for a river going out to the sea shot, but the river's a little less than spectacular right now. Sort of, it's broken its bank, it's done its thing, and now it's a little bit of a trickle of fresh water out to sea. I mean, it's a pleasant place to be, but it's not going to make a spectacular photo. Andrew reckons you need to come here just when it breaks its banks and it's flowing and it's roaring out to sea and it's impressive. At the moment it's just a freshwater puddle. Alright, next place, Ellensbrook Homestead. Ellensbrook Homestead. I was initially frightened off because I stood there and it said $10 per adult to have a look at the homestead. I was like, okay, I'll avert my eyes. But then the caretaker came out and said, oh no, you can go in and have a look around. The $10 is just to cover entering the homestead and having a look through the little museum bit, which I've got to admit would be pretty cool. But ain't nobody got time for that. So we're just going to have a bit of a wander around. People used to holiday here. It was one of the earliest holiday areas along this coast by the Bustle family, after whom Bustleton and pretty much anything else bustly is named after. Will you look at that? The water just materializes out of a cave. As we're searching for these tracks that lead us out to the lesser known coastal spots, there's a lot of trial and error and poking down off little side tracks to find roughly what we're after. And some of them turn out to be people's driveways. There's lots of private property signs here and there, and you get a little bit more of a feeling like, oh, I shouldn't be here. And sometimes you persevere and you're actually just running right alongside someone's private property. Other times you have to turn around. So after much messing about and taking the wrong turn, looking down at my map, I'm on the right track. Well, it's a tight and scratchy one, but the right track nonetheless. If you want to explore these a little bit in detail yourself, I will put waypoints for these tracks on my Patreon page for the patrons. So go and join up there if you're interested in getting yourself some waypoints. Let's have a look at what these tracks offer. Good old wombat holes strike again. I don't know why they call them wombat holes, we don't even get those things here. Extracting the Ranger, part 1. It'll be easy. Ranger extraction complete. Okay, so momentum didn't carry you through the first time. I reckon don't make the mistake of thinking more momentum's going to help you here.
Yeah, okay.
Putting that rear diff locker on. Yep. Because what happened was, yeah, you ran out of flex and lost traction on one of those wheels, and that was it. Now that we've got a diff locker on in the rear, the same momentum, maybe even a little bit less, you might get away with.
Yep.
Bugs are on me. And yeah, we'll rely on that diff locker to make the difference.
Excellent.
Interesting experiment. We'll see how it goes.
How was that?
How did that feel? Loved it.
Oh, fantastic. Just kept on just making its way up there.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I noticed the back wheels were spinning, and they were sort of shuffling and filling in the holes as you went.
Oh, okay.
So I think if we go back and have a look at the track, it's actually going to be a bit smoother. It's not bad. It's still pretty angry, but Okay, so we came to the end of these lovely little tracks and we found the first little bit of beach access that we could get onto. So came down onto the beach and got to the end, And there's this little GQ Shorty patrol sitting at the end, and also a GU patrol ute parked up. Looked like they were having, I don't know, just hanging out for the afternoon or something. Until the GU owner gets in his patrol and backs it up. A lot of noise, a lot of soot, how everyone seems to go these days. Backs it up down to the beach and launches into a vegetated sand dune and sprays sand everywhere and carves it up. Doesn't make it up, proceeds to do it another 4 times. So I'm a little bit irritated, but I'm like, nah, maybe I should just let it slide. And his mate hops in the GQ Shorty, and he has a go at it. And I think, all right, in all fairness, like, it looks like 1 or 2 people have had a crack at that before. It's not like they've just ripped open a virgin sand dune. But then, old mate in the GQ Shorty backs up and launches at a very pristine sand dune. And they both proceed for the next 10 minutes to try and scrabble to the top of this sand dune, ripped up all the vegetation. And then his mate in a V8 Disco comes along and he has a crack at it too. So by this point I've gone, no, I'm getting the camera out. I've got the big lens. You're seeing the little bit of footage of them doing it. Got a little bit of footage, and then I took some high resolution photos of them carving up the sand. Made sure the number plates were clear as day. It's 4 probably angry young blokes. He's saying, no, just give the pictures to the rangers, give the pictures to the police, let them deal with it. And I said, nah, look, I'd feel like a bit of a dog if I didn't sort of give them a chance. I'm going to go over there and have a chat to them and see if they're reasonable and see if they go, yeah, mate, you're right, we'll stop. So I go over there and I was like, who's the most responsible of you guys? And he's like, well, depends on what day we're talking. So I'm like, well, how about right now? Like, that's not really responsible what you're doing there. And he's like, yeah, so what? I'm like, well, mate, if you hear about tracks getting shut and these people that get the tracks shut, that's what you're doing. And he's like, who are you? Where are you from? I'm like, I'm down from Perth. And he says, well, f*** off back to Perth then. And I was like, mate, you're being a bit unreasonable, come on. No, f*** off back to Perth. And he starts puffing up, he's getting his fight face on. So what did I do? I decked him. No, I didn't really. I'm a lover, not a fighter. I backed away and I said, all right, have it your way. So there's the footage of them misbehaving. If they're your mates, you should probably be pretty ashamed of them. And I will be submitting that to the police and the rangers. So good luck with that. And if you're watching this and you see that sort of behaviour, just try and approach them. Whoa. Settle down, Grumpy Alex. This is future Alex talking to you, saying that is not the way to go about it. You see, after that weekend, I did end up taking that little bit of video and the high resolution stills that I got to the Rangers department. I just looked up who's in charge of Margaret River, found the department, and had a chat to the ranger. He asked that I submit the pictures, upload them, email them to him, which I did. And he called me back about 3 days later and just asked me for some details, times, anything that was said, and followed it up. He said to me that what I did was right aside from the part where I approached them. He reckons never approach them because you never know how long they've been on the glass barbie, and it could end up with you beaten over the head with your very expensive camera and thrown in the surf. Doesn't sound like a good eventuality, does it? But the rangers do care, and they rely on input and information from the public. Hang on, an ant is biting the shit out of me. To help them do their job. With those images, he can go to the police, get names, number plates, and persecute those involved. So if you're out there in the bush, on the tracks, and you see bad behaviour, whether it's someone doing donuts on the beach endangering kids, someone doing 100 k's an hour down the beach, carving up tracks, get pictures, get a bit of video if you can, try not to let them see you, definitely don't approach them, and then find the local rangers department to submit them to. All right, on that note, let's get back into some beautiful scenery and some landscape beach images.